Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. And this week, we're heading to Modern to play some Ephemerate-amentals, basically 4-color Risen Reef Evoke Elemental Ephemerate pile. So let's talk about this ridiculous deck. Jump into a league. See it in action. All right, so here is our Ephemerate-amentals deck, and this deck is pretty sweet. So we start off with the key card of the deck, Risen Reef. Just draws us a card in maybe ramps when an elemental comes into play. The idea of this deck is to play Risen Reef and then evoke the new elementals from Modern Horizons 2. Fury, Solitude, gives us a ton of removal, Endurance, some graveyard hate. So normally evoking these puts you down a card because you got to exile a card to evoke them. But with a Risen Reef out, we can kind of do it for free because we're going to draw a card anyway, so we're not really going down the card that we normally would. Plus, thanks to Risen Reef's ramping, we can easily get to the point where we just are casting these cards naturally for 3 mana, for 5 mana, and then there's still dry cards with Risen Reef. And then the next key piece is Ephemerate. Some of the most explosive turns with this deck are we like get down a Risen Reef, then we maybe evoke a Fury, then we Ephemerate the Fury. That's going to give us a bunch of Risen Reef triggers. That's probably going to wrap our opponent's board with Fury damage, and Ephemerate's gonna make the Fury stick around afterwards. We can also do it with Solitude, we can even do it with Endurance, backing up the rest of our Evoke Elementals. We got a couple more Elementals. Flamekin Harbinger, actually really important to the deck because it can tutor up our other Elementals. So if we need some removal, we can snag a Fury or a Solitude or Graveyard Hate when we grab Endurance. It can also just grab the right color of card, often Omnath, Locus of Creation, to evoke our other Elementals. Omnath also just the best finishing elemental, especially with Risen Reef going and all the lands that are coming into play. We should easily hit all 3 landfalls pretty much every turn to gain some life, to make a bunch of mana, to deal a bunch of damage. Also, sweet tricks with Harbinger and Risen Reef. If we stack our triggers right, we can cast a Flamekin Harbinger, stack the card we tutor for on top of our deck before Risen Reef resolves, and then immediately draw, which is another really good way to snag our Furies or Solitudes when we need them. Otherwise, Ren and 6 to Fairy Time Raveler, pretty much just good value cards in the deck. We also have Utopia Sprawl to speed things up and fix our mana, a bit of removal, mana base, kind of all over the place, fetch lands, shock lands, basics, Cavern of Souls, really good in this 4-color deck to fight through counters. Sideboard, more Elementals. Endurance for graveyard decks, Foundation Breaker for artifact and enchantment decks, Muldrifter for card draw against control style decks, Subtlety to deal with creatures and planeswalkers, Force of Negation for combo, Teferi also really good in combo and control matchups, Force of Vigor for artifacts and enchantments, and that is Ephemerate-amentals for Modern. That's our Much Abrew deck for this week, so let's jump into a league, see it in action. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit with a wrap-up. Looking for some sweet new Dungeons & Dragons Adventures in the Forgotten Realms cards? Well, you can order them now from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, by heading over to cardkingdom.com. Much Abrew About Nothing time. We are playing some Evoke Elementals, five color elemental shenanigans, and we got a Risen Reef, so I think keep Esper Sentinel, sure. And a Memnite, Oh my god, that's a fast start, a scary fast start. We got a plan for this. We got a plan. Stomping Grounds, untapped. Flamekin Harbinger for Fury, and your go opponent. How do you slow down the fast start? Stoneforge Mystic. Okay. How do you slow down the fast start? I think the answer is Fury. Opponent gets the hammer, goes attacking. Oh, this is good news. We will block Esper Sentinel. And now Fury is the hard sweep. Oh, not hard enough. They have an Ornithopter. Okay, so we will, yeah, I mean, Fury, pitch Ren and 6. 2 to you, 1 to you, 1 to you. Play a Misty Rainforest. Oh, please no equipping of the hammer. That would be very bad. Steel Shaper's Gift to get more hammers. Well, the question's Paradise Mantle. The question's gonna be, can they equip the hammer? All right, Ornithopter of Paradise achieved. That's literally a card now. We'll crack this. We'll get a Breeding Pool tapped. More removal would be sweet. Ooh, okay. Well, now all we need is a white card, and we do have more removal. Land, Risen Reef, tapping improperly. Okay, white card. How about a white card? Risen Reef. Okay, that's a white card. We will accept. Well, now this is even better. Now we can prismatic ending the Ornithopter. And if we have to, because we're about to die, Ink Moth. All right, gets the Lurus. Ink Moth is frightening. Opponent passes. On this Lurus is going to let him rebuild. All right, what do we find? Elemental? Ephemerate. Well, we will. Do we just pass? I kind of think we just pass. Well, we can prismatic ending. Oh, we want to be able to Solitude blink it. All right, let's just Hollowed Fountain tapped. Pass the turn. So our plan here, I think, is Solitude, pitching prismatic ending, blink the Solitude with Ephemerate, get rid of Lurus and something else. Land. There's the Lurus. The bad news about this plan is it does mean this Ink Moth is going to be unchecked and potentially lethal. Stoneforge returns. We do get to draw a bunch of cards, though. It's another hammer. So opponent's got hammers for days. Opponent passing. Solitude. Exile Prismatic Ending. Exile Lurus. Trigger. Ooh, Lightning Bolt is nice. We do want that. Ephemerate Solitude. Get rid of Stoneforge. And opponent. Done. That is elemental power. With the Lightning Bolt in hand, then we aren't really at risk of losing to the Ink Moth. All right. Opponent, hammer, timing. Well, Force of Vigor seem good. Maybe Foundation Breakers. Perhaps even Force of Negations. Those are the cards we're interested in. The question's going to be, can we find room for all of them? So we can go down, I think, to Fairy. Fairy doesn't do a whole lot. We can go down Endurance. What else can we cut? Kind of want to keep the Harbinger to get Fury like we did last time. That was key to us staying in this game. Renin 6 seems reasonable. What about cutting Ramp? How bad of an idea is it to cut Ramp? Probably horrible. We could, though. It might make us too slow. So Solitude, Fury, Force of Vigor. These are our all-stars. Foundation Breaker seems fine. Omnath, we probably need to win the game. Renin 6 pings down a decent amount of stuff. Maybe we can like trim a Renin 6, trim a Harbinger, trim an Ephemerate, and a Utopia Sprawl. Let's so inconsistent, but let's try it like that. I mean, we get a bunch more answers, and we won game one, which is big. That is a big game. Oh, Risen Reef is such a sweet card. All right, Kahira, revealed. Companioned. This is awkward. I think we're going to keep it. The problem is we don't actually have the right colors of cards to pitch to anything. But drawing any red or blue or green cards would be helpful. Opponent. Ornithopter. Memnite. Passes. Well, Sacred Foundry, untapped. Solitude is a pretty good draw. Solitude means we can pitch Solitude. We can pitch an Ephemerate to Solitude. That's kind of desperate. Do we just go for the full? How greedy is it to just Solitude now? It's greedy, but we're going to go for it. Solitude. Exile Ephemerate. Get rid of Ornithopter. Hopefully this is not a trap. Ephemerate Solitude. Get rid of Memnite. Fizzle the path. Pass the turn. No land, please? All right. Giver of Runes. Sure. That's kind of a weird choice, though, because our opponent knows this Ephemerate's coming back. Not sure why they played it, but we will accept. Blink Solitude. Get rid of Giver of Runes. Whoo, Omnath. Okay. Omnath is sweet. That turns on all of these pitch cards that we otherwise couldn't cast. Oh, opponent draws the land like a pro. Pure Steel Paladin. And passes. Not actually good enough. Well, go to combat. Hit ya. Yeah, we're going to pass. I don't like giving our opponent a turn with Pure Steel, but we'll see. Hopefully it's okay. Shadow Sphere draws a card. Giver of Runes. Oh, this kind of works out because now we can Fury away both of them. Opponent passes. Would like to draw land. Plains. All right, so play the Plains. Fury. Let's attack first. If our opponent blocks and trades, we're kind of fine with that. We could also just Prismatic Ending. Like, being able to actually cast this Omnath would be spectacular. You know what? Let's do that. Let's just Prismatic Ending. Keep waiting. If something goes horribly wrong, we can still force a negation. Opponent, more Giver of Runes. And an Ornithopter. Opponent passes. We draw. Utopia Sprawl that we can't cast. Well, go to combat. Attack. Opponent blocks. Blocks. So kill a Giver of Runes. Is it worth giving up the Omnath to kill the creatures? Probably not yet. Yeah, we're gonna wait. Opponent untaps. Stoneforge Mystic to get a hammer. We really need to draw a land. Opponent passes. Well, Prismatic Ending, Giver of Runes. Yeah, protects the Stoneforge. Pass the turn. I mean, the other thing is holding onto this Fury until Luris comes down also has value. I mean, the Force of Vigor can answer the Hammer. Ugh, another Pure Steel. Well, that might mean we have to Fury if we don't draw anything. Opponent gets in, hits us. Down to 25. Utopia. Boy, these Utopia Sprawls are not feeling very good at the moment. Well, pitch the Omnath. Fury, 2 to you, 2 to you. I guess we get the Kahira? I guess we could have done this earlier, couldn't we? Get the Kahira, pass the turn. We are out of answers to Luris, which is a issue. Opponent passes. We draw. Force a Negation looking pretty bad. Play Kahira. Oh, hang on. There we go. Play Kahira. Yeah, somehow we've drawn 3 lands and 15 cards. These Utopia Sprawls feel so bad. We keep drawing Utopia Sprawls, but not lands. Now Luris is going to come in. We don't have an answer to it, which is a big issue. Opponent passes. And that's just going to let our opponent rebuild, and we're gonna lose. Fury. Obviously, you don't have the lands to cast it. Otherwise, it would be sweet. Get in with Kahira. Opponent takes it. Down to 13 untaps. Wow, this is just really awkward running. Really awkward. Urza Saga. Opponent. Colossus Hammer. You know what? I think we forced a negation. These forced negations aren't doing anything. Opponent. Pure Steel from the graveyard. And another Colossus Hammer. Draws a card. Equips to Luris. Equips to Luris. Wow, this is going to work, isn't it? Opponent goes to combat. Wow, okay. Well, Force. Colossus Hammer. Do we care about Shadow Sphere? Not really. Urza Saga? And then block with Kahira, get rid of Luris? We dealt with the Luris problem. We draw. Solitude, which... Wow, we're up to 17 cards with 3 lands. Opponent Ink Moth Nexus, Ornithopter, and equips. Goes to combat. Attacks. We will take it. Down to 20. Opponent passes. We draw. 18 cards. Okay. Pass. We're just not going to draw land. It's just not gonna happen. Opponent. If they draw a hammer, we're just dead. Wow, they draw a hammer, and yeah, fair enough. Wow, that was kind of insane. Wow. All right, well, run it back. That game does not really tell us much about anything. That was the Mana Screw of the century. All right, we get to play first. We'll reveal Kahira. 3 lands out of 20 cards. All right, well, I mean, we'll keep. This hand is more okay than great. This is kind of arguably the opposite problem where we're missing action, if anything. Although I guess we can Flamekin Harbinger out of Risen Reef. Opponent. Yeah, going to town. Memnite. Ink Moth passes. We draw. Solitude's not the worst. Stomping Grounds, untapped. Flamekin Harbinger. Get a Risen Reef. Pass the turn. Okay, this we kind of like. Hopefully they can't, well, they shouldn't be able to kill us this turn. Opponent goes to combat. If they attack, we are blocking. No attacks, okay. Now, Misty Rainforest, crack Misty Rainforest. Get a Hollowed Fountain, untapped. Risen Reef. Get a Cavern on Elemental. Pass the, well, go attacking. Hit ya. About it. Wow, why'd they keep the 1 colorless land hand? Their hand must be great if they draw a land. About it. Springleaf Drum. All right, so that's a land in a roundabout sort of way. All right, and the Saga. All right. Stoneforge Mystic. We could potentially have a good turn here. Opponent gets the hammer. Passes. We draw. Fury. We can just cast that, right? Windswept Heath. So red. Yeah, we can just hard cast a Fury. So let's hard cast the Fury. Kill you. Risen Reef. Cavern on Elemental. And now if things go horribly wrong somehow, we have Solitude and the ability to Ephemerate this Fury. Urza Saga. And our opponent also, their Springleaf Drum gets turned off, which is probably a big deal. Ink Moth. And next turn things get even better because we can leave up Solitude and Ephemerate. Giver of Runes. Sure. Well, crack this. Actually, maybe we just Solitude now. I think we do. It feels so good. Temple Garden, untapped. Ephemerate Fury. Kill you. And that might be game. And opponent. Done. I love me some hammer time, but it felt really good to just kind of like absolutely bash it with Risen Reef. Oh, that deck's sweet. Sweet. All right. Well, let's keep that going. Much Abrew About Nothing time. We are elementaling 5-color Ephemerate-amentals in modern, and well, we'll keep this. So if we put this on red, this can get white. This is blue. I don't know what we're getting with this Flamekin Harbinger yet. We'll see what our opponent's up to. It could just end up being Risen Reef. We always kind of want a Risen Reef. Utopia's Brawl on red and go. Or we could just draw Risen Reef. That'd be sweet. Lotus Bloom. Okay. Not sure how we do against combo. Flamekin Harbinger. Do we have an elemental that is good against ad nauseum? Not really. Well, I guess we're taking Risen Reef, playing the tap land, passing the turn. We do have some decent sideboard cards, like Force of Negation, but in game one, I think we just got to try to kill them, which might be tricky depending on how good our opponent's hand is. Well, looking pretty good. Opponent's got all the mana. Just kidding. Suspense a tutor. Interesting. Well, we will... Actually, should we just be playing Omnath? Maybe. Yeah, I think we need the faster clock. Misty Rainforest, crack it. I think we just got to get down Omnath here. Omnath attacks for a lot more than Risen Reef, and we're on a pretty fast combo clock. Like 2 turns from now, we are probably dead. Hallowed Fountain, untapped. Blue, white, green, red, Omnath, draw a card. Oh, that's the card that can save us. That's the card that, if we get down this Teferi, we win. That's going to stop both of those suspend cards. Oh my goodness. That is our main deck hate card that could actually get us out of this situation. We got to fade a counter or a Thoughtseize, but if we stick this Teferi, that shuts down Profane Tutor and Lotus Bloom. Oh my goodness. Opponent, pathway, and passes. We draw. Windswept Heath. Well, go to combat. Attack. Hit ya. Windswept Heath. Gain some life. Crack Windswept Heath. Get a Stomping Grounds untapped. Make some mana. Risen Reef. Draw Risen Reef. We need to get down the Teferi. How can we get down the Teferi? Flamekin Harbinger. Tutor. A Risen Reef. I mean, it all comes down to whether we can resolve this Teferi. Teferi? No counters? Wow. All right, so that's game. Well, opponent had it. We did what we could to cast everything else first, but our opponent had the Pact of Negation in hand. So now our opponent gets to win. They get to Angel's Grace to stay alive, or I guess Lotus Bloom. Tutors. Yeah, that was our chance. We needed to resolve Teferi. Angel's Grace. Well, now unless our opponent somehow does not have a finisher, they should have the game. Thassa's Oracle and Spoils of the Vault. All right, so they had it. There's really not anything we can do about that. We did everything we could to try to force our opponent to counter something else, and opponent wouldn't have it. All right, Subtlety in, Teferi's in, Force of Negation's in. Endurance doesn't do anything. Lightning Bolt doesn't do anything. Solitudes and Furies don't really do anything. Foundation Breaker, Force of Vigor. Muldrifter? It is a little awkward that we're cutting so many elementals. That's going to make our Risen Reefs and so forth a lot worse. But like Solitude and Fury just literally don't do anything. Yeah, that is a little awkward. So how do we actually win? I guess just Omnath Risen Reef? Prismatic Ending's okay. Would be better if it was instant speed. Let's go 1. All right, well, try it like that. We do get a bunch of good sideboard cards, but the cost is a lot of our main elementals are no longer in the deck. Well, we got a Teferi, and it could potentially come down on turn 2, which would be pretty good. Breeding Pool, untapped. Utopia's Brawl on white. Go. And then we can Harbinger up a Risen Reef to draw cards at least. Sleight of Hand. I think we are just going to slam Teferi, though. That is one of our best cards in this matchup. Opponent, suspends. Sure. Well, let's see if they can answer Teferi. Cavern of Souls on Elemental. And Teferi. Do you have a counter? No. Take up Teferi. Go. Opponent passes. Well, we will Windswept Heath. Crack it. Get a Stomping Grounds, untapped. Flamekin Harbinger. Get a Risen Reef. Teferi, bounce Flamekin Harbinger. Draw Risen Reef. Play Risen Reef. Pass the turn. All right. Well, opponent has one turn to get rid of this Teferi, or it's going to ruin these Lotus Blooms. I top deck a land, which is probably good for our opponent. We'll see. Subtlety can potentially buy us a turn against the combo. All right. Prism passes. Well, take up Teferi. Play a... Actually, let's Hallowed Fountain untapped. Foundation Breaker. No Evoke. Blow up the Prism. Draw a card. Ooh, and it's a Force of Negation. That's nice. Yes, please. Flamekin Harbinger. Misty Rainforest. Tutor up. Probably just another Risen Reef. Can never really have too many Risen Reefs. And our opponent might be in a bit of trouble with these Cascades not, or these Suspends not being able to come down. Opponent. Oh, the Teferi blowout. As much as I dislike Teferi as a card, I kind of love Teferi at the moment. Otherwise, we would be getting super racked Surf Visions for our opponent. I think we're in good shape. Even if our clock isn't fast, we still have a lot of defense. Hitting those 2 Lotus Blooms was big game. Opponent passes. Well, we will crack Misty, get a Forest, Temple Garden untapped. Green, blue, whatever. Risen Reef. Double trigger. Omnath. Harbinger. Take up Teferi. Harbinger. Omnath. Renin 6. Get a Risen Reef. And yeah, I guess we go attacking. Hit ya. And go. Well, now we have Subtlety and Force of Negation. We can pitch Omnath to do it. And not 100% sure how our opponent gets out of this now. Elemental's got to answer for everything, apparently. Wow. Yeah, sure. Spoils of the Vault. Are you dead? Wow. All right. It was at the very top. Gets a land. Opponent. Echoing Truth on Risen Reef. Yeah, sure. That's fine. Opponent. Passes. So... 1, 2, 3. Risen Reef. Mistapping. Risen Reef. Get a Muldrifter. Green, white, red, blue. Omnath. Omnath. Risen Reef. Flooded Strand. Trigger Omnath. Crag Flooded Strand. Get a Plains. Trigger Omnath. Muldrifter. Full price. In Modern. Draw some cards. Get an Ephemerate. Draw a couple more cards. Take up Teferi. Go to combat. Hit ya. Pass the turn. Discard Renin 6. Discard a Risen Reef. Discard a Risen Reef. And a Omnath. Opponent. Tap land. Oh, maybe I should howl on one more blue card. Wow, if we lose this, that would be a punt. Opponent down to 9. Angel's Grace. Okay. Spoils of the Vault. Okay. Thassa's Oracle. Well, we will... Subtlety? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we should have held on to one more blue card, but we are unpunished. And run it back, run it back. I mean, that's... Seems to be the recipe for our success. Kind of play like a weird elemental control deck almost in this matchup against combo. Oh, this deck is so sweet. All right, Kahira. It draws so many cards. Ooh, Ooh, this has 2 cards that we really want, but it is risky. With Renin 6, if we draw a single fetch land, we're kind of in business. But as it is, we're doing nothing, like literally nothing. We're gonna mulligan. All right, well, this will keep. We will put a Stomping Grounds to the bottom and see what happens about it. So we got the Force of Negation, which helps. We got the Teferi, but it's gonna be a little slow this time. Hopefully not too slow, we'll see. This looks like a Crim hand. We're 5-color elementals, and somehow we have the blue-white control hand. Opponent. Lotus Bloom suspended, and passes. We draw a land. Well, tap land. Go. Not the fast start. Opponent. Taking down Lotus Bloom. Land, and passes. Well, we will Misty Rainforest. Crack it. Get a Stomping Grounds. Untapped. Utopia Sprawl on blue. Pass the turn. I mean, the biggest question is, does this Teferi resolve? Opponent. Passing. Another Force of Negation. Land. Teferi, no counters, please. All right, sure. Opponent counters. Well, let's see if a Force of Negation can keep us alive. Opponent gets a Lotus Bloom. Do they just have the full combo? If they don't have Angel's Grace and they got to sack Lotus Bloom, then that's actually good news. All right, here comes the Angel's Grace. So opponent stays alive. Next turn, we could potentially have 2 Force of Negations, which would make me feel a little better. Opponent cracks. Spoils of the Vault. Spoils of the default. Okay. Is there a way this beats us? Do we need to force a negation one of these? All right, so what's our opponent got to do? They need a blue source. Force a negation can't stop Thassa's Oracle. So I need to get a blue source. Let's see what the first one names. Okay, goes for Thassa's Oracle. And then I guess we got to counter this one. Opponent suspends Profane Tutor. Oh, so the issue is they're just going to be able to cast Thassa's Oracle and win, and we can't stop it. Was there a punt? Did we do something wrong? Or did our opponent just have the right cards? Windswept Teeth. Yeah, I mean, this just does it, right? We can't actually beat this. Oh no, they just can't. I'm so wrong. For some reason, I was thinking he was saying they had 2 cards left in their library. They have 2 cards left in their hand. I take it all back. Opponent. Well, we probably should have run out the Harbinger, I guess. Crack this. Get a Sacred Foundry tapped. Untap. Harbinger. Get a Risen Reef. Pass the turn. Opponent. Profane Tutor. Do we counter the tutor? Probably. Actually, I guess we can counter what they tutor for. The risk is that they tutor up a Pact of Negation. Opponent. Gemstone Mine. Passing. Go to combat. Hit ya. Flamekin Harbinger. Get a Subtlety. Go. Oh man, I think I definitely messed this up. We'll see if we still win, but I think I definitely messed it up. Opponent. Tap land. Yeah, we should have played the Harbinger turn earlier. Opponent. Angel's Grace. Well, let's see if they also have the counter. Oh, they can't. If they have Thassa's Oracle spoils, they can't have the counter. Thassa's Oracle, sure. We will force it. Opponent down to 2. And we got the GGs. Whew. Elementals overcome. Wow. Well, there's a little weirdness, but we'll take it. The power of the deck, the power of the Elemental tribe. Hi. Shines through in the end. Well, a little clunky, but a win. It's a win. Sweet, sweet. Much Brew About Nothing time. We are Elementaling, Ephemerate-amentals. Yeah, we'll keep this. Playing some 5-color elementals, and big question's gonna be what do we put Utopia Sprawl on? I guess probably red. Probably red. Opponent doing some mulliganing. Probably means we're about to get troned. Hopefully our opponent's a creature deck. Our hand's pretty good against a creature deck. Well, we will forest Utopia Sprawl on red and go. Now, don't let me forget to get this Kahira next turn if we don't draw anything. What if Hills? Opponent passes. Well, we will Cavern on Elemental. And might as well snag the Kahira. Opponent. Triome. Could be some sort of ramp control deck. Could be Domain. Well, we will play the Forest. Play Kahira. Companion Beatdown, pass the turn. Opponent cracks, and if this is like Wilderness Rack control ramp, that might be tough. Then all of our Furies and Solitudes probably aren't going to do much. Opponent. They did mull to 5. Getting down a Risen Reef would be sweet. Opponent passing. Oh, Teferi would be very, very, very nice. Well, go to combat, attack you, see what our opponent does. Opponent cracks. Gets a Forest. Oh, they're a Cascade deck. Okay. Well, that's a smidge awkward. All right. So opponent, let's see what they do here. Blocks and blocks. Yeah. Okay. Sure. So we really need to get down this Teferi. We got to hope for no counter. Oh, we can't. We don't have the right colors of mana. That's really awkward. In that case, Windswept Teeth, crack it. Get a Plains, Fury, kill a Rhino, pass the turn. Well, now we know. Now we know what our opponent's up to. Gemstone Caverns. Opponent goes to combat. I think we take it and try to attack back. Opponent hits us down to 15. Passes. Well, we are definitely going to Hallowed Fountain untapped to Fairy. Opponent counters. Now go to combat. Hit you for 6. Down to 11. Pass the turn. Yeah, our mana's super clunky at the moment. Our mana's really good for elementals, but casting other spells is problematic. Opponent, Steam Vents, tapped. Gets in, hits us. Well, we're going to try another Teferi, I think. Teferi. Can we resolve a dirty Teferi, please? Opponent, Subtlety. All right, so Teferi. Do we want Teferi? Let's go bottom. Go to combat, attack you. Opponent takes it. Down to 5. Yeah, I wish we had more white mana. Opponent goes to combat. Opponent attacks. Well, that's Solitude. Pitch Prismatic Ending. Letting our opponent gain a bunch of life is obnoxious. Opponent. Oh, they got another one? Cryptic Command. Okay. Well, opponents had the Cascade spell and they've had all the counters. Opponent passes. Well, we will play a tap land. We will pass the turn. So we have to Solitude, kill the Subtlety, chump, untap Fury. If our opponent has another Cascade spell, though, we're super dead. Cascade decks are really strong in Modern at the moment. Well, we will Solitude. Or another way to deal with the Solitude, get rid of Subtlety, block the Rhino. Ugh, we are just holding on by a thread. Opponent. Oh no, more? Jace the Mind Sculptor. That's pretty bad. Brainstorms. Yeah, I think they probably got us here. Ugh. Yeah, we just couldn't get rid of the rhinos. Opponent had all the answers to our answers, and well, that did it. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fury. Kill the rhino. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. All right. Well, that's Power Jace and Cascade. Interesting. Well, we'll bring in another Teferi, and that might be about it. I feel like we should be able to hopefully, go toe-to-toe with what our opponent's deck's doing. I guess Subtlety is probably better than Endurance. Maybe we go down the Endurances and bring in a Force Negation. I mean, Teferi's a big one, because Teferi shuts down Cascade. Yeah, try it like that. All right, we're on the play, which should be helpful. That game, our opponent just had the fast rhinos, and we almost were able to deal with them, but lots of interaction. Cryptic, double Subtlety, Force Negation. And our mana, I guess it is a downside to this deck, is we drew both of our forests, and our mana was just clunky. We didn't have the mana to Teferi plus Prismatic Ending or whatever. Maybe, and we drew a Cavern, so we just had awkward mana for non-elementals, and we really needed to resolve more non-elementals. We get to play first. Reveal the Kahira. It has a lot of cards that we want, but not the ability to cast them. Well, this will keep. I guess we put Ephemerate to the bottom. So still pretty awkward. Opponent, gonna start with some free ramp. Well, Breeding Pool, Utopia Sprawl. Put it on, I guess, blue past the turn so we can force a negation. This does mean we don't get to Wrenn in 6 until we find a fetch land, but opponent plays a land, passes. We draw. Teferi, can't play that either. Elemental. Ugh, yeah, we're gonna have the... Gonna have the mana troubles again, it looks like. Teferi's so good against these Cascade decks. That's a reason I don't actually feel bad about playing it, is the Cascade decks are really fast and busted, and you gotta use whatever counterplay you can get, even if it means dirty Teferi. Opponent passes. Ephemerate, not very good at the moment. Well, more caverns on Elemental. Opponent is definitely not countering our elementals. Unfortunately, our hand is full of non-elementals. Opponent makes a board full of rhinos. Let's see if they also have Force Negation, then we're just dead-ish. Yeah, opponent. Well, yeah, I mean, Force Negation. Well, we're not literally dead yet. So that's a tiny bit of good news. Opponent. We really could use some mana to let us cast our spells. That would be sweet. Oh, God. Well, they got rhinos anyway. Oh, Lord. Opponent, stomping grounds, tapped, and passes. And do we draw land? We do. Is it too late to matter? That is the bigger question. Well, we can play it to Teferi. We can bounce a rhino, draw a card. Ugh. Well, if we ever draw anything to go with these Ephemerates, it's going to be really good. I don't know that we ever will, but if we do, we can do some blinking. Opponent, going to kill Teferi, going to hit us. Passes. We draw. Flamekin Harbinger. Sure. Well, Flamekin Harbinger resolves. We will get I guess Fury. Pass the turn. Opponent. Oh no, they got more. Oh God. Well, fair enough. Hi, yeah, these Cascade decks, good. They're very good. That was a blowout. I mean, we also ran really poorly. Our mana was so bad this match, but yeah, that's a lot of rhinos. Like, that was just what, turn 2 rhinos. We stopped it with a force negation. Turn 3 rhinos. We tried to stop it with a Teferi, but it was too late. Turn 4, like, what do you do about your opponent just casting Crashing Footfalls 3 turns in a row starting on turn 2? That's gonna beat a lot of decks, including ours apparently. Much Abrew About Nothing time. We are Ephemerate-amentals. Five color Ephemerate Elementals, and, well, we got an Elemental. Actually, I mean, in the right matchup, this hand's kind of good, because we can just pitch the Teferi to Solitude. Well, we'll see. Is this the right More Teferis. Teferis for days. Hallowed Fountain. Tapped. Go. The blue-black mana makes me a little bit nervous that they're playing some sort of control deck, perhaps. Although, I guess if our opponent was playing some sort of control deck, the Teferis could be good. Thought Scours. All right, looks like some sort of control deck. Darkslick Shores about it. Passing. Well, there's a Fury. Let's play Temple Garden tapped. Pass the turn. I mean, if we can somehow get down a Teferi, that's going to be insane. Opponent. Cool, passing, okay. Misty Rainforest. Yeah, I mean, crack Misty Rainforest. Get a forest. Teferi. Opponent, counter spell number 1. Sure. Watery Grave. Untapped. Opponent passes. Well, play Windswept Heath. Play a Risen Reef. Or do we just play Teferi? Yeah, let's play Teferi. Do we have counter number 2? No. Opponent's gonna Snapcaster Thought Scour? Okay. Well, unless they hit a Force of Negation, which they could. So this could still go wrong. Opponent mills themselves. Please resolve. Oh no. I don't like how much time this is taking. Ooh, okay, opponent. Holy counters. Good God. All right, so I think we gotta do something like, all right, let's pass. Wow, Force of Negation, Archmage Sharp, Counterspell, Drown in the Lock. If there is a counter, it is in our opponent's deck, and then some. Opponent gets in, hits us, down to 17. We untap. We will play a Risen Reef. Wow, resolves. Triggers. No. Put the planes into play. Okay, that's a bit of good news. Pass the turn. Opponent taps. Draws a land. Okay, cracks it. Island. And, oh, Sedgemoor Witch. Interesting. Opponent. All right, let's go for this. Let's Solitude. Pitching Prismatic Ending. So, get rid of Sedgemoor Witch. Trigger Risen Reef. And then we can Ephemerate. Okay, I think we Ephemerate the Risen Reef. Draw a card. Opponent gets a token. Draw a card. Get rid of the Sedgemoor Witch. Lose our Dork. No blocks. Crack this. Thin the deck. Stomping Grounds tapped. Untap. We're going to draw a few cards, I think. Blink Risen Reef. Draw a card. Prismatic Ending. Risen Reef, number 2. Draw a few cards. Yeah, Fury. Harbinger. Well, play a Harbinger. Harbinge, so we can draw the... Oh boy, we were going off. Yeah, put the land into play tapped. Harbinger gets us a Fury. Draw the Fury. And then we will evoke the Fury, pitching a Fury. Oh, this deck! We are going off. So we will kill Snapcaster in the Pest. Ooh, what a turn! Opponent gets a life. Sure. Risen Reef. Forest. We'll put this one to hand. Risen Reef, Ren and 6, okay. And then, yeah, we don't even need to evoke it, that's fine. Play the land, Utopia Sprawl on red. Ren and 6, get back a land. What a turn! What a turn. Oh my goodness. We played through so much of our deck and through so many cards. When this deck goes off, it goes off. Another Sedgemoor Witch, sure. Opponent, passing. Well, we have plenty of answers for that. Windswept Heath. I think we... Windswept Heath. Let's just Prismatic Ending the Sedgemoor Witch. Pay the 3. Opponent Flusterstorms. That's pretty cute. Makes a token. We will pay the 1. Makes a token. We will pay the 1. Get rid of the Witch. Windswept Heath. Crack it. Get a tap land, unfortunately. Ren and 6. Get back the land. Fury. Pitching Ren and 6. Ooh, when this deck goes, it goes. Get rid of the pass, draw some cards, another Renin 6, another Risen Reef. Opponent gains a bit of life. We lose the Fury. We will Risen Reef, draw some cards, and yeah, hit you a little bit. I mean, we don't have the fastest clock, but good lord, we're just drawing our deck. Opponent had all the counters in the world, and it's not mattering. It just does not matter. What do you got, opponent? Thought Scour. Sure. You gonna try to mill us out? Yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Opponent passes. I mean, we have the endurance, so we're not gonna mill out. Renin 6. Get back a land. Flamekin Harbinger. We would like to tutor first. Get Omnath. Draw Omnath. Sure, put the land into play. Play Omnath. Opponent counters. That's fine. We will Utopia Sprawl on green. Let's go white. Doesn't really matter. Utopia Sprawl on green. Go to combat. Hit ya. Down to 16. Play the land pass the turn. Opponent. Passing. I mean, I don't know how we lose from here, honestly. Untap. Go to combat. Hit ya. Ephemerate a Flamekin Harbinger. Get an Omnath. Draw the Omnath. We will keep the Cavern. We would actually like to have a Cavern. Cavern. Elemental. Shut down these counters. Oh, this might be a good matchup. White. Actually, what is this? Green, white. White, green. Red, blue. Omnath. Draw some cards. Omnath. Teferi. Endurance. Omnath land. Well, tick up. Get a land. What a blowout! What a blowout. Pass the turn. Discard some lads. Snapcaster. Our opponent must be trying to mill us, but we have two... Oh, they're going to Archmage's Charm? We have two Endurances in hand, so I don't know... I don't know how our opponent gets out of this, honestly. And we're going to be able to ultimate this Renin 6 if we want to. Opponent. All right, targets themselves. Well, we will discard a land, and an Omnath. And a land. All right, opponent. Kind of feels like we're playing a different game at the moment. Opponent started off good with all their counters, but I mean, I think they are just running out of luck now. So we untap. Ephemerate. We're not even going to bother to cast it. We are going to ultimate Renin 6. We are going to play a Renin 6. All we got to do is make sure we can resolve the endurances to shuffle stuff back in at some point. The only way I could see us losing is getting milled out. Opponent. Are we countering? All right, opponent going to draw 2 cards. Well, Renin 6. Snipe the Snapcaster. Okay, kills Omnath. Well, we will play Teferi. Go to combat, hit ya. Tick up Teferi. I mean, this should do it now. Pass the turn. Opponent. So our plan is just to flash in this Endurance, end step for lethal. Opponent, Snapcaster. Again. Sure. Opponent's deck looks like a cool idea. I feel like we just really want a Cavern. Like, if we have Cavern, I don't know how our opponent beats us. Going to Thought Scour. Thought Scour is targeting us. Sure. Opponent's fighting the goodest fight, but the elemental value. We've just played through our entire deck. It's just too much value. Opponent's thinking. Drown in the lock. I guess we Ephemerate it. Get some triggers. Tutor up Omnath. Oh, we don't have one. All right. Solitude, I guess. We mostly want to fight the Lightning Bolt, I think. All right, so there's the Solitude. Risen Reef. Cavern in hand. Risen Reef. Wooded Foothills in hand. Fizzle it. Opponent plays on land. Opponent passes. Well, 1, 2, 3. Endurance. Uncounterably. And opponent, done. The mill plan's not going to work, and that was a ridiculous value game. All right, so opponent's playing, I guess, blue-black control, I would say. So, Teferi in. Do we even want Force Negations? What are we cutting? Probably some of our removal elementals are probably our least important. Muldrifter could be good. Like, are we trying to Force Negation our opponent's Force Negations? That's the big question. Maybe we bring in a Force of Negation? Like, having access to a Force of Negation seems good. I mean, we mostly want a Cavern. This is a Cavern kind of matchup. About it. On the play. Kahira just in case. Ugh. Well, this hand has a Cavern, but the rest of it's pretty bad. I kind of think we mulligan it. This hand just We got all the removal elementals that don't seem great against our opponent's blue-black control deck. Yeah, we're gonna mulligan. Well, okay. This is also not super exciting, but it's a little better. We got a Utopia Sprawl. We do have a cavern. Had 2 caverns, so we'll take it. Two Furies. Well, Misty Rainforest. Crack Misty Rainforest. Get a Forest, Utopia Sprawl on what? Probably white. We do want to be able to play a Teferi if we draw one. Pass the turn. Thought Scours. Mill some lands. Plays a land. Passes. Well, I mean, Cavern on Elemental. Seems pretty good against our opponent's deck. Grab a Kahira. Pass the turn. About it. Polluted Delta. Passes. Well, I mean, play Kahira. Next up, a Risen Reef, I think. Getting the card draw going would be super helpful. All right, opponent counters. I think we're fine with that. Kahira's not especially essential to our plans. Opponent cracks a Delta. Watery Grave. Untapped. More cantrips. All right, another Thought Scour. Oh, they have Murktides. We did not see Murktides last game. Opponent passes. Well, crack the land. Grab a Hallowed Fountain, I guess. Untap. Ooh, there is a Risen Reef. That's what we wanted to see. So Risen Reef, uncounterably. Yeah, Cavern seems really good against our opponent's deck. Put the land into play. Play a Windswept Heath. Pass the turn. Archmage's Charm, sure. Draws a couple cards. A little bit worried about a Murktide at the moment. We don't have a clean answer to Murktide. Watery Grave. Untapped. Oh, Plague Engineer. Well, that is annoying for the time being, just because we lose our Risen Reef, which we did really want to draw cards. The good news is we do get to Fury this. Get a Stomping Grounds tapped. Untap. Oh, we draw another one. That's good. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, you know what? We should probably just play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, let's just play the Cavern on Elemental. Fury away Plague Engineer. Uncounterably. And Fury might be tricky for our opponent to kill. Drown in the Lock gets it, but they can't just Fatal Push it. What do you got about it? What do you got? It's also a fast clock. Opponent's at 13, and this hits for 6. Oh, if we can get the Risen Reef going. All right, opponent has Drown in the Lock. We will let it go. Oh, here comes the Murktide. Well, that is scary. Opponent. Murktide. Huge. I don't crack this. Oh, and they could have Force of Negation still? Yeah, Murktide could get us. It could. Get his Team Vents tapped. Well, let's see what we draw. Force of Negation. Well, I think we have to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, it's so much better if we... You know what? How greedy can we be? We can play Risen Reef, right? Like, what's the worst that happened? We die? That's not that bad compared to drawing cards. Yeah, let's Risen Reef. I mean, we don't die this turn either way. Risen Reef. Draw a not very good prismatic ending. Now we pass. The downside with waiting is this does potentially leave our opponent open to draw more counters. Opponent. Murktide Regent is quite a Magic the Gathering card. Gets it. Hits us. Sedgemoor Witch. Passes. Well, this is the turn. Oh, we draw a red card. That's actually pretty sweet. So we get to Fury. Exile Flamekin Harbinger. Trigger. 8 at the Regent. Oh, okay. That's actually pretty sweet. Draw Solitude. 4 damage. And then we Ephemerate Fury. Opponent. Force of Negation. Well, we can Force of Negation the Force of Negation. Opponent Fluster Storms. Okay. So opponent's kind of sort of going off, I guess. I mean, maybe all these tokens are going to let him win. They actually might. All right, so opponent had, I guess, the perfect hand. Flusterstorm. So they're going to be able to keep their Regent, sort of. All right. Well, now we see what our opponent's deck's trying to do. I guess it's dependent on having a 2-mana 8/8 flyer. If it has that, then apparently it's pretty good. Yeah, now we're probably just dead, I guess. Like, we can Solitude, pitching Prismatic Ending, but I don't think this wins us a game at this point. Well, get rid of the Murktide. Draw. Yeah, just, all right. Well, we see what our opponent's deck's trying to do. It's a Murktide deck. So I guess with the amount of creatures they have, maybe we are keeping Fury, going down the Muldrifter, going up the Subtlety. Prismatic Ending actually feels pretty bad. Maybe we just get rid of Prismatic Ending altogether and go 1 Endurance? Yeah, Let's try it like that. All right, well, now we know. Opponent's blue-black Murktide Regent. We should have known there would be a Modern Horizons 2 card in there that the deck was built around because, I mean, it's modern. Of course there is. Ooh, well, we're going for this. We're going for the turn 2 Teferi, and if we stick a turn 2 Teferi, it should be very, very good. Windswept Heath. Crack Windswept Heath. Get a Forest. Utopia Sprawl on blue. So opponent's gonna need, they're gonna need the Force of Negation in hand, or a Thoughtseize, which we haven't seen yet, to prevent this Teferi from coming down. About it. Passes. Untaps. Polluted Delta. Passes. Maybe. Passes. Well, Hallowed Fountain. Untapped. Teferi. Do you have Force of Negation? Please no. All right, Teferi down. Well, take up Teferi. Pass the turn. This shuts down a lot of our opponent's stuff. Like, Teferi is kind of insane. Opponent. Cracks Polluted Delta. Watery Grave. Sure. I mean, that's probably the best start we get off to in this matchup. Opponent. Taps. Plays a land. Passes. We will Cavern on Elemental and take up Teferi. Pass the turn. Oh, things are looking up. Things are looking up. Opponent. Land. Plays a Sedgemoor Witch. Sure. Opponent. Passes. We draw Ephemerate. Now let's bounce Sedgemoor Witch. We will pay the 3. Draw a card. Land. Pass the turn. So if our opponent replays the Witch, we can just Solitude it. Opponent plays a land. Sedgemoor Witch, sure. Passes. Well, crack this. Grab a Plains. Solitude. Witch down. Yes, we will pay the 3. Wow, having Teferi on the battlefield is pretty insane, isn't it? We will take up Teferi. Now I think we're to the get the Risen Reef stage of the game. Opponent. Are we done? Not yet. Go to combat, hit ya. Gain back a bit of life. Down to 19. Well, Misty. Crack it. Card draw time, I believe. Well, next turn. Get a Steam Vents. Tapped. Play Flamekin Harbinger. Get a Risen Reef. Pass the turn. All right, opponent, let's see what you got. Gonna need something pretty good. Tap land. I'm assuming our opponent's got to have a lot of dead cards. A lot of counters that just aren't doing much. All right, opponent plays a Sedgemoor Witch. Sure. Passes. Well, we will play Risen Reef. Draw a card. Go to combat. Attack you. If our opponent trades, that's fine. If not, we are going to kill this. Or do we just bounce it? Maybe we just bounce it. We're at 15. Yeah, let's just bounce it. Pay the 3. Breeding Pool. Untapped. Pass the turn. Now we can start ephemerating and leaving up the Force of Negation. Opponent. Are we witching? The Witch returns. Plays a land. Cracks it. Opponent needs something really good, though, because once we start ephemerating and drawing cards, I feel like this game's going to end pretty quickly. Opponent. Fatal Push on Risen Reef. Yeah, so we'll just ephemerate it. Draw a card. Put a land into play. Opponent gets a pass, because we can just Fury and deal with this board. About it. Ether Gust. Let's just say no to this. Force Negation. Stop the Ether Gust. Opponent gets a token. Oh, but this is where things get really good for us. So opponent passes. Ephemerate comes back. We Ephemerate Flamekin Harbinger. Flamekin Harbinger, gonna get us a Risen Reef. We draw the Risen Reef. Yes, please. And an Endurance. So now we take up Teferi, play Risen Reef, draw some cards. Risen Reef, Cavern, and we'll put it into play on Elemental. And then Fury, away your board. 2 to you, 1 to you, 1 to you. Pay the 3, sweep the board, draw some cards. Opponent needs like a Damnation, I think. Oh, we will accept a Solitude. That's good protection in case there's a Murktide Regent. So board down. Opponent gains a bit of life. We hit ya. All right, opponent. Let's see that Damnation. Let's see that Damnation. I mean, that turn 2 Teferi is just, it's basically won us the game. That's basically been it. Opponent. Toss Scours. Sure. I mean, we are going off with Elementals too, but the Teferi shutting down our opponent's counters has gone a long way. Plague Engineer on Elemental. I mean, that is big game for the opponent. I don't think it's going to win them this game, but that does keep them around for a minute. Well, we will bolt the Plague Engineer, take up Teferi, Utopia Sprawl on green, Risen Reef, draw a card. I think we put it into hand. Go to combat, attack you. for a bunch. Down to 4. Stomping Grounds untapped. Renin 6. Get back a land. And your go, opponent. All right. You need something good, or the elementals are going to get an opponent does not have it, and whoo, it always feels good to beat the deck with 100 counters. It really does. Whew. Sweet, 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 sweet. Much Abrew About Nothing time. We are 5-color elemental. Oh, I think we got to keep this. We only have 1 land, but we do have Utopia Sprawl. The main issue is we're on the draw, which does mean something like Thoughtseize could make it so we just don't ever cast a spell. But on the other hand, because we're on the draw, odds of us hitting another land go up. And if we do hit a land, I mean, Risen Reef, Teferi should find us more lands. We'll see. But I think it's worth keeping. Misty Rainforest, opponent cracks it. Temple Garden and Arbor Elf. Okay. Well, Misty Rainforest. Ugh, we probably got to kill Arbor Elf, don't we? Get a Stomping Grounds, untapped. Bolt Arbor Elf. Go. Horizon Canopy for our opponent. Oh, they had the Utopia Sprawl too. All right, so good thing we killed the Arbor Elf. Misty Rainforest, crack it. This is painful, but get a Breeding Pool, untapped. Utopia Sprawl on white, go. If our opponent's Heliod Company, we could get comboed at any time, and we don't actually have an answer for that at the moment. On the other hand, Risen Reef Ephemerate could find us answers. Like, we do have answers in our deck. Let's see what our opponent does. Endurance, probably just going to be a dork in this matchup. Land. All right. Oh, no. Coco. Yeah. What does our opponent hit? So it's definitely Heliod Company. Ranger Captain of Eos and Arbor Elf gets a Ballista. Ooh, yeah. We draw a Harbinger. This isn't great. I think we got a Risen Reef. Draw a card. Fury would be spectacular. Please? Solitude. Huh. So I can play a big Ballista. Question is, do we need to kill this Arbor Elf? Maybe? Yeah, I think we do. Solitude, pitch to Fairy. Get rid of the Arbor Elf. Risen Reef. Still kind of rooting for a land. Renin 6. Okay. Yeah. Well, we killed a thing. Pass the turn. About it. Land. Conclave. So you get to make a huge Ballista anyway. Ugh. Yeah, so this is going to be a 2-2. Yeah, let's Endurance, pinch Endurance, just to get the Risen Reef trigger. Because Risen Reef's definitely going to die. Oh, there's a land. Yeah, this isn't good. So opponent gets a big Ballista. We might just be dying fairly here, unfortunately. Goes attacking. Hits us. Down to 11. Kills the Risen Reef. So we go to 11, we untap, we draw Fury. Okay, interesting. Well, that is probably our best draw, unless our opponent's last card is a Path. Even so, it's probably our best draw. So I think we crack Windswept Teeth, go to 10, get a Forest. The question is, what do we pitch? Harbinger can get us a Risen Reef for an Omnath. I think we're going to pitch Harbinger, though. All right, so Fury. Exile Harbinger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Opponent pings us. Okay, down to 9. Kill the Mentor. And then Ephemerate Fury. Opponent's X. That's fine. We still get to keep the Fury, and we dealt with our opponent's board, and then we can grab Kahira? Okay, well, I mean, we're not immediately dead. We officially survived a Collected Company. You go, opponent. All right, cracks the land. Sure. Heliod. All right, so that puts our opponent potentially close to winning. Ephemerate, I don't even think we cast it. Play Renin 6. Get back the land. Play the lad. Crack the lad. Get a Forest. Actually, let's get the Plains. Kahira. I mean, this is a pretty fast clock. Fury being pumped by Kahira that's an attack for 8. Like, technically, we're presenting lethal next turn. We'll see. Opponent taps. It should be hard for them to go infinite this turn, I think. Skyclave Apparition snags Kahira. Well, we will get back the land. Solitude is a pretty good draw. Go attacking. Opponent takes it. Windswept Teeth, go. Yeah, Solitude helps. This can break up a combo or deal with the Skyclave. An opponent's going to have to stop taking Fury hits here. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, opponent top stacks their best card, gets a Spike Feeder. Well, we can survive this. Solitude. Get rid of the Spike Feeder. Opponent gains some life. Gonna put some counters on Skyclave. Oh, the life gain is kind of big here. Yeah, so Skyclave getting huge. Opponent passing. Well, thin the deck. Get a tap land. Untap. Come on. Come on. Removal spell. Misty. Well, we will go to combat. Attack with Fury. Opponent takes it down to 3. Get back the land. Replay the land. All right. Hopefully our opponent does not draw something else good. They've drawn 2 Cocos so far. About it. I mean, I think our opponent's dead on board without something. Ranger Captain of Eos. Well, that is something. And it turns on Heliod. Well, now I think we're dead on board without something. Gets a Ballista. Plays a land. Opponent attacks. Attacks. Well, now we got to block. Uh-oh. Whoa, do they have Path 2? Oh, no. All right, so we'll block the Heliod. Going to lifelink, of course. If we don't draw something good, now we are super dead. Oh, that second Coco. Opponent passing. Actually, all we got to do is draw a removal spell, right? This is lethal if we... So I think we thin the deck. All right, we just got to draw a removal spell. Preferably another Fury. Solitude doesn't do it. Oh, this is it. This is a game. We draw Endurance. That also does not do it. Oh, yeah. And they got the combo in hand. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, opponent, infinite comboing. Subtlety, I guess, in. I don't think we actually change much. I think that we're actually pretty well set up for this matchup. I feel like this should be a matchup we win. We're bringing the subtlety, run it like that. Oh, all right, we got win 2 in a row. Come on, Elementals, you can close it out. All right, we get to play first. Reveal Kahira. We have a Risen Reef, which is good. Solitude is something. Kind of slow, but all right, we'll keep this. I don't think we want to play the Harbinger yet. We're going to need to draw one more land. I do like having Solitude to break up the combo, but really we got to get this Risen Reef down as quickly as possible. We only have the 4 Utopia Sprawls, so I don't think we can go too crazy with like needing to have ramp. With only 4 ramp spells, odds are not super high. And Risen Reef is kind of a ramp spell, if we can get it down. All right, so Breeding Pool tapped. Go. Temple Garden tapped. Oh, all right, well, Risen Reef. Oh, we really just want to draw a land here. Any land, anyone would be so helpful. Because then we can Risen Reef, and then we can Solitude something to trigger Risen Reef, and then we can Risen Reef, and then we're in business, but... We really need land number 3. About it. Untaps. Plains. Mentor. All right, land. Come on, Magic Gods. All right, Cavern. On Elemental. Play Risen Reef. Actually, maybe we wait on Risen Reef. Maybe we Teferi first. Let's play Teferi. Bounce the Mentor. This also shuts down... Instant speed collected companies, which is nice. Opponent, land, and Heliod. And passes. I'll take up to Fairy. Can't Utopia Sprawl at the moment. Risen Reef. Hopefully hit a land. Ephemerate. All right. We can probably do cool things next turn if we're alive. About it. Mentor. Seems like they were thinking about pathing Risen Reef. Opponent passes. Well, let's take up to Fairy. Risen Reef number 2. Get some triggers. Still would like a land. All right. No, we're not going to put that into play. We want it in hand. Endurance. Okay. Now, Misty Rainforest. We have 8 cards in hand. So we're going to have to discard something. All right, let's pass. Having double Solitude up is pretty sweet. We're going to pitch this Utopia Sprawl. So we have Solitude, Ephemerate, plus Spike Feeder. All right, so we need to Solitude. So if we wait, this comes in with 3 counters and we can't stop it, right? So we have to Solitude, pitch Ephemerate, get some triggers, get rid of the Mentor, get a land. Kind of want to hit a white card, honestly. Red card. Get rid of that. Are we going to Endurance? Yeah, I think we got Endurance, actually, awkwardly. Pitch the Ren in 6. We want a white card so we don't have to pitch this Ephemerate. Sure, shuffle your land back in. Risen Reef. Okay, there's a white card. That's good. And a Risen Reef, that's also pretty good. So Endurance, shuffles our land in, dies. Heliod triggers. Opponent gets a Spike Feeder. About it. All right, goes to combo. So we need to Solitude. Actually, maybe we just let it die. Let's Solitude, pitch Ephemerate. And this lets us use Prismatic Ending to deal with Heliod. which is even better. Boy, when you can just go off evoking with Risen Reefs, it's kind of absurd. So opponent, gonna gain some life. Sure. Get a land. Get a land. Well, you might as well thin the deck here. Crack the land. Get a Temple Garden tapped. Opponent passes. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I think our plan is Flamekin Harbinger. Tutor up Omnath. Draw Omnath. Draw Omnath. White, green, red, blue. Omnath. Get some triggers. All right, Subtlety's good. Harbinger. Now, crack the land. Get a forest. Gain some life. Crack the land. Get a plains. Gain some life. Flamekin Harbinger. Get some triggers. Tutor up a solitude. I mean, we're just gonna have layers and a fury. Jeez, we're just gonna have layers of protection. Prismatic ending. Get rid of Heliod. Hollowed Fountain. Untapped. Hit ya. Risen Reef number 3. Draw some cards. Cavern Elemental. Wow, what a turn. What a turn. Take up to Fairy. Go to combat. Hit ya. I mean, with the combo of what we have in hand, it is hard for me to see how we lose from here. We just have so many answers. Opponent does have 7 cards in hand, which is something. But I mean, just look at the difference in boards. Utopia Sprawl. Sure. And Walking Ballista. Also sure. And Path to Exile. Also sure. No lands left. Opponent passes. We will draw land, take up to Fairy, green, white, red, blue. Omnath number 2. Trigger some Risen Reefs. Red and 6 is actually pretty good. Another Fury. Land. Gain some life. Utopia Sprawl on red. Ren in 6. Kill the Ballista. I think our opponent's trying to mill us out at this point. I think they've realized that might be their only realistic shot. Well, we will Harbinger. Get some triggers. Tutor up an Omnath for pitching purposes. All right, draw Omnath. That pitches to Solitude or Subtlety. Make some mana. Deal some damage. Well, we might as well get rid of the Utopia Sprawl. Yeah, go to combat. Hit you with what we got. Down to 11. Pass the turn. Opponent, land. I mean, even if our opponent has Coco, and even if they hit perfectly, Solitude should be able to fizzle it. Okay, opponent has Solitude. Yeah. Going after Omnath, I assume? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. And Coco. Can't really do anything about that. Hopefully they get stuff that we can answer at sorcery speed. Okay, Heliod Mentor. Opponent. Passes. Well, can we close out this game before we run out of cards? To Fairy. Bounce Heliod. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we're so close. All right, so red, blue, white, green, Omnath. Like, I think if we get this Omnath damage, we win, right? 4 plus... Are we 1? Oh, we can Fury away the blocker. Oh, but it gains 2 life. Actually, I'm actually not sure. All right, so we gain life. Solitude. Renin. Oh, Renin 6 should do it. I think that's the 1 extra point of damage we needed. Let's see if we're calculating this right. So we will Fury, exile Fury, kill your mentor, Risen Reef triggers, land, okay, make mana, land, damage, and Utopia Sprawl, sure. So opponent goes up to 8. Are we still 1 point of damage short? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We are. Ping you. Play a new Renin 6. Ping you. Play Cavern on Elemental. Go to combat. Actually, you know what? Let's play a new Teferi. Play a new Teferi. Keep the new Teferi. Take up the new Teferi. Go to combat. Hit ya. All right, so opponent goes to 1. So we don't win this turn, but the combo of Subtlety and Solitude should make it so we're good to win next turn. Opponent. Another Coco. All right, well, that is the best our opponent could hope for. And opponent scoops it up. Hey, what a game. We had to go through our entire deck, but we did get there eventually. Oh, okay, well, I mean, run it back. Show us those Furies and Solitudes. No, Kahira, revealed. You know what? We don't have a card draw engine, but we have a lot of removal, which I like. Wins up teeth for our opponent, cracks it. Temple Garden, untapped. Utopia Sprawl. We might have to kill that. It's a bummer to lose Prismatic Ending, because that gets rid of Heliod, but let's Temple Garden, untapped. Prismatic Ending, Utopia Sprawl. Wouldn't mind finding a Risen Reef. Threat 1 down. Utopia's Brawl. Opponent. Maya. And passes. Now, we will play a Windswept Heath. Go. I think we want the option to Lightning Bolt if we have to. This is such a scary matchup because they can just combo so efficiently. Opponent. Untaps. Ooh, does this mean they don't have... Oh, wow. Okay. Well, getting rid of that Utopia's Brawl seems like a big game at the moment. We get a Utopia's Brawl. Well, Utopia's Brawl on blue. Steam Vents tapped. All right, no lands. No lands for you. Just stay on 2 mana forever. Opponent. Do they find a land? All right, Prismatic Ending. Sure. I guess that is fair, all things considered. Well, Temple Garden, untapped. Green, white, red, blue. Omnath. Draw a card. All right, pass the turn. Opponent. Do you find a land? Not yet. An Arbor Elf. Opponent passes. Well, Cavern on Elemental. Gain some life. Oh, I kind of want to leave up this Ephemerate and Subtlety. Maybe we just Bolt Arbor Elf. The downside is Bolt is instant speed interaction. We could just hardcast the Fury. How does that go wrong? If we hardcast the Fury, our opponent could path this, draw land, collect a company, and hit the combo, and then we lose. Well, go attacking. Opponent goes to 13. Yeah, let's just... You know what? The odds of that they gotta be so low, right? Let's just play Fury. Hardcast it. This also gives us a 2-turn clock. Kill the Arbor Elf. Oh, no path. Okay. Now we should be in really good shape. Opponent. So we can hit for 10, and then we have Bolt for 3, which is Xaxes. Opponent. Wow. That turn 1 answering of Utopia's Brawl might end up winning us this game. That might be the key play to buy us enough time to get the elementals going. And then our opponent just not drawing lands for a while. Temple Garden untapped. Skyclave to get the Omnath. All right. Well, that does keep our opponent alive temporarily. Opponent passes. Well, Utopia's Brawl on, I guess, red? White, red, blue. I mean, maybe we go blue. I don't think it matters much at this point. All right, go blue. Cavern on Elemental. Go to combat, hit ya. Opponent takes it. Down to 5. Well, pass the turn. In Subtlety, Bolt, and Blinking Fury we trust. Opponent draws a land. Well, this does turn on Coco, potentially. And Subtlety does not actually officially stop that. Opponent, passing. All right, we untap. We draw another Ephemerate. Well, go to combat. Attack you. Oh, opponent just blocks. Okay. Blocks and Cocos. Sure. Hits the Spike Feeder. Hits the Heliod. All right, that is good for our opponent. I mean, we do have multiple answers, which is helpful. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. I think we should still be okay. Opponent, Spike Feeder. Well, we will. Blue. We need to leave up as much interaction as possible. White, red. All right, well, we will Subtlety. Stop the Spike Feeder. Opponent, Arbor Elf. Sure. Opponent, passing. Well, we untap. We draw. Solitude, that's not bad. Go to combat. Attack with everything. The Evoke Elementals might be pulling through. Wow, this has been a long, grindy, crazy game. Opponent, blocks. So when our opponent goes to combo, we do need to kill the Spike Feeder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Solitude. Actually, maybe we just Bolt. Is Bolt better? Actually, Fury's blocked anyway. Maybe we just Ephemerate Fury. Yeah, Ephemerate Fury. Kill. Opponent gains some life. Yup. Opponent goes up to 9. Goes down to 6. Oh, we gotta have this, right? We gotta have this. Opponent untaps. Cracks the land. Oh, shuffles away the... Interesting. I think they shuffled away the Spike Feeder. Auriok Champion. Okay. And Spike Feeder. All right, so we have to... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Solitude. To get rid of the Auriok Champion. And then Ephemerate, Blink Subtlety, deal with the Spike Feeder. Oh, an opponent done. Wow, that was a ridiculously close game. And, well, the kids have been fed 5 treasure chests. So we finished with a 4-1, which actually pretty good. We got absolutely smashed by Cascade, but otherwise the deck was good. All right, let's crack these open. Complete sets, please. Ragavans? We'll take a Ragavan. 35 play points. All right, I mean, that's decent. That's more than the value of a treasure chest. Siasha. I don't think I've ever seen that card. Maybe I've seen it in Commander once. I don't think I've ever seen it in play, though. Arbiter of Null-Writ. Mystic Reflection is a sweet card. Not a valuable card, but that is I love that card. It's just such a neat card. 2 to go. Dissipate. Oh, these have been some bad. Where's our Ragavan? Where's our Ragavan? Magic Gods. Hallowed Fountain. Well, I mean, Hallowed Fountain I don't think is actually worth anything. Hallowed Fountain, Dissension, Moto comes in at, well, $1.44. So, I mean, I guess something, but not much. Shocklands have just been reprinted so much. They're super cheap on Moto. Well, that's 5-color Elementals, and that was some long, grindy, crazy games, but the deck is actually really sweet. Oh, man. The deck just does really cool things. And Risen Reef. Who doesn't love a Risen Reef? Well, all right. Well, talk about it in the wrap-up. Be right back. So what did we learn this week about Ephemerate-amentals in Modern? And the deck was so sweet. We ended up going 4-1 in our league. We did get kinda absolutely stomped by a Cascade deck, which Cascade's really powerful. They kept our Fairy, our main hate card, off the battlefield, and they just played so many Rhinos. But otherwise, we beat Hammertide. We beat Ad Nauseam. We beat a blue-black Murktide Regent deck. We took down Heliod Company. This deck plays some ridiculous games. We had several games where we essentially drew our entire deck and we're winning with like less than 10 cards in our library after just casting so many elementals, evoking so many elementals. I really like how this deck plays. Like, the deck, it's really good against creature decks because Fury and Solitude, especially with Ephemerate, are insane, but then it's also pretty good against control because Risen Reef offers so much card advantage, Omnath a good standalone threat, so it feels like we have game in pretty much every matchup with this deck, and it's just super fun. It's just like so much fun to play. I've always loved Risen Reef. It's one of my favorite cards to cast, back to like playing it with Panharmonicon when it first came out, and it is so powerful in this deck. It's combining together like something old with Risen Reef with a lot of new stuff from Modern Horizons, and you mash that all together, and the end result is pretty spectacular. So this might be one of my new favorite Modern decks. I think the deck's actually like pretty legit. You can certainly compete with it. So I don't know if you like drawing lots of cards, you like shenanigans, you like evoking and ETB triggers, Ephemerate-amentals might be the perfect Modern deck for you. Only downside is it is absurdly expensive. Like, I have a 1,500 tick loan balance on Magic Online, which I have never not been able to borrow a deck with that amount. And this one came close. It is 1,343 ticks and almost $2,000 on paper. So it is absurdly expensive because of all the fetch lands. You got Teferi, you got Wrenn and 6, all the new Modern Horizons 2 stuff. So it is Force Negation on the sideboard. So it is absurdly expensive, but the deck is also absurdly fun. So that's Ephemerate-amentals. That's our Much Abrew for this week. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.